Hey there guys, today we're going to be talking about how to control somebody in half guard so they don't reverse you, so they don't attack you and get you off balance, so that you are stable and in a good passing position. All right, in future videos we'll be covering some of these passes, but let's start with the controlling of the position. So from here, from the half guard, this chest-to-chest position, one thing Will want to do is get his elbow inside my knee, use that to make space and recover his knee position to get out of half guard. So I always want to take this knee and keep it in really tight to the hip. So when Will goes to get his elbow inside the knee, it's really hard. Another problem is when I'm here, if Will bridges to his right-hand side, he can knock me out of balance, either completely get on top of me or at least make me have to scramble, and now he's out of the half guard. So I keep my knee really tight to stop his elbow escape, pinching against the hip, and I take my left foot and I cock my left foot back behind my hips. So at this point, when Will goes to bridge into me, my left foot provides a good base of support instead of being down here, where if he goes to bridge into me here, I've got no base of support out here and my hips get knocked to the floor. So we stop the elbow escape by keeping the knee tight. We stop his bridge by cocking my foot and toes back here behind my hips in the direction of his bridge. Another thing Will want to do here is get an underhook. So if he can get an underhook here, actually, we'll save that for a little bit more. Let's keep talking about the lower body actually. Another thing Will might want is a knee lever. If I keep my knee on the mat, Will can post his feet to the floor just outside my knee. He goes to hit a knee lever and he can force my hips outside my knee, getting me greatly out of balance. Sometimes he'll get all the way on top. Other times he'll just make me have to scramble and get up, but then I lose the control. So in order to stop the knee lever, all I need to do is take my knee off the floor, this knee that's inside his half guard. So I stop the elbow escape by keeping my left knee tight. I stop his bridge by keeping my toes cocked behind me. And I stop the knee lever by keeping my knee off the mat. Will goes to knee lever me now, and it's really hard. So that's how we configure our lower body. This knee over here tight to the hip, the toes cocked behind, and this trapped knee off the mat. Another thing Will wants is an underhook. If he can come up with an underhook, he can start to come up off the floor and start to wrestle into me and take me down. How do I stop that? Well, I want to have the underhook on him. So as I'm coming into the half guard, I want to look to punch my hand here in between his bicep and his ribs so I occupy this space. When Will tries to come up into me now, the fact that I have the underhook means I can keep this shoulder squashed. The fifth thing that Will's going to want to do is he's always going to want to get up on his side and face into me. He can only do that if he can get this far shoulder off the mat and if he can get this far hip off the mat. Let's talk about how to keep the far shoulder on the mat first, then we'll talk about the hip. So once I've got good knee position, good lower body positioning, I get a right underhook, and I'm going to take a cross face. With a cross face, I want the crook of my elbow all the way tight to the neck. We don't want to be holding on to the neck here with the fingers and leaving our bicep far away from the neck. That's terrible. It's not a good cross face at all. I go deep, and I grab the lat muscle, trying to get my middle finger to the armpit. And now to keep his shoulder on the floor, I'm going to take my left shoulder and put the weight of my left shoulder over my own hand. Will tries to get his left shoulder off the mat now. Very hard. That's how we keep the shoulder flattened, is with a good cross face. Again, I want to think about using my shoulder to squash my own hand. Here. Lastly, even if I'm putting a good crossface on, Will can try to stay on his right hip and try to get his left hip off the floor and try to punch in a knee shield, make space, and things like this. So the way that I keep his hip on the floor is I do what I call a centerline shift. I'm going to walk my legs and hips across Will's center line to put all the weight onto his left hip. He goes to turn into me now, And it's hard. If he starts making progress as he tries to turn into me, I'm just going to keep walking. I just keep walking to flatten him out. And then once we have our good passing position here, now we can start looking at going and actually passing. So that's how we control the half guard. I'll talk about those details one more time. Glancing through them, I think we talked about 5 or 6 there. Again, from the half guard, I want to stop his elbow escape on this side, so my knee stays tight. I want to stop his bridge in an off balance in this direction, so I keep my toes cocked behind me, toes placed on the floor. I want to stop his knee lever, lock up a half guard, Will. I want to stop his knee lever, so I keep my right knee off the floor, my trap knee. I want to stop his underhook, so I get my own underhook. I want to stop him from getting his far shoulder off the mat, so I use a good cross face, putting my weight over that shoulder. And I want to stop his far hip from coming off the floor, so I perform a center line shift, walking my body across. So when Will goes to do anything to reclaim position, to counterattack, to off balance me, it's so hard. And as he does it, we're always going to be looking to try to get our leg free, first our knee, and then our ankle. And we'll be looking at how to do that in future videos. So we keep the knee tight to stop the elbow escape, toes cocked to stop the bridge, knee off the floor to stop the knee lever, underhook to stop his underhook, cross face to stop or pin the shoulder, center line shift to pin the hip. And once we're here, we're in a great passing position.